Today's video gonna be another vocal production tutorial. I wonder what DAW I'm gonna use today though.
Hello Legend.
Hey.
I'm sorry if I startled you.
Man, it's been a while.
SERATOSTUDIO has remotely sent me a new update to install into the studio.
Wait, so Serato, when was the last time I heard from them?
A few months ago, but this new update makes it one of the newest DAWs to record vocals.
The newest DAW to record vocals? Yo. Let's check it out.
Downloading update.
So I've been teaching how to record vocals for the last few videos that I've done, and it just so happened that SERATOSTUDIO recently updated their DAW to now take audio recordings. In other words, we can record vocals directly into SERATOSTUDIO.
Installing update.
I'm gonna show you guys a few tips and tricks to use when you're trying to record vocals, and showing you also why SERATOSTUDIO is really dope for recording vocals, because it's got some really nice features that I think you're going to love.
Update complete. Serato vocal production activated.
So obviously the first thing that we want to do, in case you haven't already checked out my previous Serato videos, is we want to make a beat. So if you want to learn how to make a beat in SERATOSTUDIO, you can follow this link above or in the description, and I walk you through that process entirely. This is the beat that I came up with. Hey, so we've already got our song laid out here, and we've drugged down each section, you know, the very simple process of building out our song once we have some loops that we generated. We're gonna go on to recording some vocals. And I've already got some vocals here, as you can see, which I started recording yesterday. Unfortunately, the audio was blown out, so the whole process of me recording is kind of, I can't really show it because your ears are gonna die. So the very first thing that you wanna do when you're coming into SERATOSTUDIO is make sure that your audio interface is hooked up to your computer and is in SERATOSTUDIO. It's being used as the input and output. So we come up here to the top right-hand corner and select this settings button. In the audio tab, we select our audio interface as the audio output, and the same thing for the input. As you can see here, when I talk, if we check down here, this is our mono input. And what you'll see on this screen will be a little bit different. It won't have all these vocals here. It's gonna have this add audio button. So we just click on add audio, and from there it adds a little source here. We select our mono input 1 because that's where our microphone is. And from there you can literally press the record button and it'll just start recording vocals right there automatically. So once you click record, this is what it sounds like. Every time I come, I wanna go. Yeah. Once we have the vocal, the same thing that we always do in every track is we want to know how to process these vocals to sound a little bit more professional and give them some character. So SERATOSTUDIO has a really simple way of doing this. Basically, when you're selected on your instrument here in the song view, just click on song view and we have our full song here. And you select on whichever vocal you want to add some processing to. You would click this button here, and these are all of Serato's built-in effects that you can use, which is really awesome that Serato comes with all these effects pre-installed, so you don't have to go out and get different plugins from third parties, you know, if you don't want to. But if you have some that you want to use, you can do that as well. So if you want to select these, you can select, you know, amphitheater reverb or echo or, you know, things like that. However, I have my own chain that I personally like for my sound, so I want to go with the third party plugins. I would click on the library button here, click on plugins here, and here are all of my plugins that I would normally use in any other DAW. So I went ahead and added a Nectar Pro, Waves Tune, CLA Vocals, and Greg Wells Voice Centric. And the reason I have all these is because I want to add some plugins here that are going to clean up the vocals a little bit. So I use Waves Tune to kind of clean up the pitches. And we have Nectar Pro, which I added here. And the eyeball button is what you can select to see the plugin itself and make the proper adjustments. So I have this here. I used a vocal assistant to kind of get some cleaning, a noise gate in there as well, and some basic EQing. To add a little bit of color to these vocals, we did CLA Vocals, where I added some reverb, some delay, and a little bit of stereo spreading here on this one vocal here. Same thing with Greg Wells Voice Centric. I added that. Got a little bit of a doubler, a little bit of more punchiness here with the knob, and the reverb is turned up just slightly. So we quickly go from a very basic vocal.
Oh, every time I come I wanna go, yeah. Oh, every time I come I wanna go, yeah. But you really wanna know. I come around, I wanna know. Oh, yeah.
So we talked about stacking in our previous video, one of our previous videos on how to record vocals and how to record harmonies. Because we like to pan, or at least I like to pan, and I like to record 4 stacks per harmony, I kind of kept it simple with this particular song because I know I'm going to be applying these effects on all of these vocals. So basically 4 different plugins on around 6 vocals. So that's going to be a lot of processing that my computer has to do, and I want to kind of tone that down. So I went with a little bit more of a laid back approach, and I recorded 4 stacked vocals for the melody. And then our harmonies, I just did 1, and then I did some processing, and I'll show you exactly how I did that. So the way that I went about setting up these tracks to record my vocals, the way that I do in any other DAW, is I basically took the lead vocal here, I right clicked it, and I duplicated it 4 times, the same way that I do all the time. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 duplicates of this lead, so it has all these effects pre-applied. But in addition to that, I added this stereo pan plugin. And the way to get to that is click this button here, and you go down to EQ, and you go down to stereo pan, and this is what's going to allow you to pan your vocals left and right in Serato Studio, because it's not here. However, it is here. It doesn't matter how it works. It does work though. So right here, when it's straight up and down like this, that means it's going straight down the middle. But in this case, we want to do 100% all the way to the left. Then our next stack, we do the same thing, 100% to the right. Then our next one is going to be like 50% to the left-hand side, and the next one 50% to the right-hand side. So the same kind of logic applies here in terms of panning. You still want to pan the vocals the exact same way, but it's just a little bit of a different process here in Serato Studio. But we can get the same effects that we get in any other DAW, which is really amazing, and we get more. We stepped down to these other 2 vocals to kind of save like some processing power. I went with the 1 stack on both of these notes. So this note, as you can see, I disabled the stereo pan here, so it's going to come straight down the middle. And the way that I processed this is I gave it a lot more widening here with CLA vocals. You can see it's wide and it's set almost to the top. I gave it some reverb as well. And then the same thing with Greg Wells here. If we click that, I turned doubler way up and a little bit of reverb here, so that we can still get, like I said in the previous video, how to record harmonies, when we want to kind of dial things back a little bit, but still get that harmony to sound like it's, surrounding the soundscape. I would use a doubler. So we did that with this vocal here, actually these 2 vocals here. So I'll play one of them, and then I'll play the other one. I actually want to record one more part. Trees and pools, the water's cool. Can we change the sound? Palm trees and pools, the water's cool. Palm trees and pools, the water's cool. All right. Here is where Serato gets interesting, because after you record and process all your vocals to your heart's content and do everything that you want to do, you make your beat. Now if it comes to a point to where we don't like the key that the song is in, or maybe we want to send it to somebody else for their album or their next single, whatever it may be, you can change the entire key of the entire project with one click of a button. And it transposes everything, including your vocals, to that new key, including the auto tune that we have, everything that's set to these vocals. It's going to transpose everything down. So I'm going to show you how this works in real time, because boy, oh boy, is it fun. You can also do the same thing with the BPM.
Every time I come, I wanna go. Yeah. You really wanna know. I come around.
Let's go ahead and speed it up to, let's say, 95 BPM. How about that?
Every time I come, I wanna go. Yeah. You really wanna know.
Oh, it literally will work with you. You don't have to spend hours time stretching, transposing things manually with, you know, some kind of auto-tune plugin or something like that. Like, it all just works, and I love that about Serato Studio. It makes creating so easy and so simple to do. You don't have to deep dive into some crazy menus and looking at words that you don't even understand what it means and like all this other crazy stuff. You just click a button and it works. So I'm going to go ahead and transpose this down to the G sharp major, turn back my auto tune on because I like this key that it's in. Let's give it a listen, start to finish.
Every time I come, I wanna go. Yeah. You really wanna know. I come around, I wanna know. So no name, never know. Can we change the sound?
Everything that you do, someone come passar bom, se pa ki batibo, a semane da wo bom, se pa ki de blue, aba bati ba compon, se petit de bapon, Dre, Trizzy e pa se ba king son, somebody the teen son, comporte ba na, I'm a either, someone coupon tantila, papa te ba kita, yeah but now her name is Tina, a summer comp, papa sim, summer compa son, mama son, blah blah blah. Can we change the sound? Can we turn my life around?
So it's like different keys speak to me in different ways, so I can decide which key after the fact. And if I want to re-record it because, you know, the vocals might sound a little too wonky when it's like way down here at the C sharp. Like, obviously that sounds a little bit, it still sounds good, but I don't know if it would be something that I would want to release. Go download Serato Studio because this DAW has pretty much everything that you're going to need. It has the ability to add plugins. You can pan your vocals. You can now record vocals in there. They've got all the features in terms of matching pitches and keys of songs, scales of songs. Everything that you play is set in key, as I stated in my previous videos. This is a really good program to have in your arsenal. I would love to hear what you guys come up with. So that's all. As always, stay legendary. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.